already know just where I be, dog. I ain't being cocky, but Philly what I'm reppin'. Watch me check it like it's hockey. I ain't tryna get it twisted. If you get it, then you got me. If you with it, cool. If not, I'll treat you like a Tamagotchi. I'ma let you down point. Yeah, I never disappoint.
What's going on, guys? JHoyt back with you today. Welcome back to episode number 5 of the Seattle Attack franchise mode. So last time in episode number 4, we went from December 1st to the trade deadline. So as you can see on your screen, not much better as far as overall goes, except for this time we're a little bit on the edge of the win department. However, those overtime losses do kind of hinder that a little bit. So in the last video, if you guys have not watched it, make sure you go do so. There is now a playlist of NHL 18 franchise mode episodes. So if you want to catch up or you just want to go back and rewatch it, then make sure you go do so. There's now a playlist. It will be in both the NHL and the franchise mode playlist. But as for right now, we led up to the trade deadline. We turned on injuries. So now we are working on making the playoff push. So what I did in between episode 4 and episode 5, it was about an hour for me, and it was about a week or so for you guys. So what I ended up doing was I explored some trades. Now, we actually have 3 trades that I want to re-look at. Now, I have them written down on my phone. Actually, I took pictures of them. But let's just go over, what our season has been so far. So it's been kind of really inconsistent. We're lacking on the high-end players, and we need, to start focusing for next year and the years after, as well as trying to make a playoff push. So this first trade, we're going to be looking to trade Jarome Iginla. Now, I know I said I probably wasn't going to trade him because of his contract that is just so bad that, we wouldn't be able to trade him. Well, in this trade, we're going to have to look at that. So, Jarome Iginla and a 2018 5th round draft pick of ours going to the Dallas Stars. Now, the Dallas Stars, as you can tell, are not even close to a playoff push. So, they aren't close. So, we go to a right wing of theirs. Now, you may be thinking, oh, you're going to get a top guy. You're going to go try to get a superstar. No, we're not actually. So, this is kind of an unusual trade, and you'll understand why once I explain who it is. But Brett Ritchie, this guy right on your screen. Now, he doesn't look like anything more than a 3rd liner, 4th liner, younger guy that, has some potential on him. But look at these stats. Now, when I was looking at teams that are out of the playoff push about players I could possibly acquire, I saw Brett Ritchie and 48 points. And I was like, yes, please, how can I get him? So he does not have an extension on his contract. He has a 1-year deal on a 1.2 salary hit there. He's a 78 overall, and he's 24 years old. So instantly, I was like, all right, what can I do to acquire him? And I was looking around my team, and we have Smith Pelly, we have some of the other guys that are at the bottom, but those are going to be involved in other trades. So we have to focus on just Iginla and the 5th. I do not know if this will go through or not, but let's find out. So this is the first trade I wanted to make, but they didn't really want to accept it. So what I was planning on doing was basically just retaining a bunch of salary from him because it's going to be gone after this year anyway. Right wings, let's go to Smith Pelly and see if we can make this trade work. So him, and let's see if we can get a 4th or a 5th in there. Let's start with a 5th. Is that going to work? Okay, so that trade worked instantly, which was good. So we got rid of that trade. The next trade we are going to look at is the trade that originally had Smith Pelly in it, but we are actually going to head over to Toronto. And if you guys know prospects in this game, you'll know probably someone by the name of Kasperi Kapanen, which is one of the Toronto, wow, that's not even a word, the Toronto younger guys. So we're looking at this guy, and if you can tell, like, former first-round pick, 21 years old, already 78 overall, you know, has decent potential, and he's got, like, no contract on him, so we'd have to re-sign him, but he does good in the AHL, but he hasn't really proven himself in the NHL yet, so, you know what, I'm willing to take the risk on him, especially for a guy like, well, we're going to try Ginla in this one, but if not, we'll have to go with a guy maybe like Brown to see if that works, so let's try to throw a Ginla in here, and in the... Okay, so this is where the big part comes in for at least this trade. So now we're going to go... Since I don't really want to keep giving up picks and keep giving up, you know, all of our top picks, what I'm going to end up looking at is Ryan Pulock. Now, the only reason I was so willing to give up Ryan Pulock is, one, he actually grew a couple of overall this year. And we also have Polka still down here. And we also still have Logren, who has yet to sign, which we're probably going to do in the offseason. But Pulock is at that age and at that overall where he's kind of like expendable to where we can kind of throw anything in there and, you know, see if it works. So, Ginla has that big contract, which is the only reason I wasn't going to try to trade him. But we could possibly make this work. So let's see if it does. Okay, so they don't want to take on the contract of Ginla. Will this work? All right, so I'll take that. I mean, that was completely off the original trade path that I wanted to go on to, but it doesn't mess up the next trade. Now, you guys have noticed, you know, we've gotten 2 right wings so far. However, we needed more high-end players. So what I ended up doing was scouting out a trade with Arizona. Now, Arizona is a team that has lots and lots of prospects. So you guys look through their team right now. They have Dylan Strome, I think it's Nick Merkley, McKinnis down there. But look at their left wings. Look at them. Ryder, Domi, Dvorak, Keller, Perlini, and Kraus. All of, you know, young players. I mean, Ryder's, I guess, the oldest at 25, but he's still, like, semi-young. However, Arizona is a team that needs some veteran presence on their team. Right? I mean, they have a few guys here and there that are above 30, but other than that, they don't really have much. So, what we are planning on doing is trying to know why I backed out of that. We're trying to acquire Christian Dvorak. Now, the only reason I wanted to try to acquire Christian Dvorak is because I know he's a good player, right? He's already eligible for the NHL, and he still has 2 more years under his contract on his entry-level deal. But also, he's another player that's doing very, very well. However, with this trade, there's a lot of trade value coming from his side. So, we're also going to need to throw in... Now, I didn't really want to do this. He hasn't really been performing that well. And David Perron. Now, as you see it, there's a lot of trade value on both sides, but it's still uneven. Now, again, I do not know if this trade will go through, but Arizona is another team that has a lot of salary cap missing from their team. So we were going to throw in Ryan Miller. Now, yes, we just put him in our team. However, one, he hasn't really been doing, you know, super well. But we still have Neuver and we still have Corpusella we're probably going to call up. Or we could acquire, let me just first pick on Miller there. But we were probably going to acquire one of their backup goaltenders. Now, what I noticed when I was scrolling through this was Ranta has an extension for a couple of years. Chad Johnson is not doing well at all. And they have Deming down here. Now, Deming is a player we could easily... I don't know if he'd be a restricted free agent after the season or not. But he's still a semi-young goaltender that we could possibly get. And this trade kind of goes through. A little bit. But we still need some more, you know, trade value on their side. So now what I have written down here is their 3rd round pick from this year. Now this kind of looks even to me, but I have a feeling that with the Ginla deal, with the salary, it probably wouldn't work. So let's try it. Does it go through? No, it doesn't. So, okay. So I hate when they say, have you even looked at our trade block? It's like, yeah, we have. Like, you want to give up Deming and you want Perron. So, like, let me have whatever else. So let's just go and retain half of Miller's salary. Because, you know what, that's kind of the easiest thing to do because he's on a 1-year deal. And hopefully this works. Trade rejected. Okay, what about Perron? We'll do the same thing. Half a year deal. Because, again, we can just kind of do that with our team right now. So 1.875. Does that work? No. So let's try to change up the pick a little bit. Maybe get their 4th, potentially next year's 5th. If this one doesn't work, so quite far off still. So it does look like the trade value is a little skewed there. So let's try to get their 5th. It doesn't work again. So we'll probably just have to either go with no pick or a 6th or a 7th. So try to go with a 6th. Try to get anything we can. Okay, there we go. So this will go through right here. So the official trade is David Perron and Ryan Miller, with half of both of their salaries being retained by us. And both of those guys are being sent to Arizona in exchange for Christian Dvorak, Louis Domingue, and a 2019 6th round draft pick. Now this trade will definitely go through. Obviously, we just saw that, so send that through. So unfortunately, we had to retain, some salary, but again, it doesn't matter because it's only a 1 year. But that's all the trades I wanted to make, right before we started. So we ended up sending Kapanen down, mainly because of, the salary cap. We traded away a lot of it, and now we're kind of a little bit more constricted on what we can do. So as for what we're going to do now is we're going to simulate to the rest of the season and kind of get that over with. So we still do have the trade deadline coming up, and, we still possibly could have some trades come through. But I made all the trades I was going to make. Obviously, it changed a little bit, but, that's what we're going for. So did I not just put him in the lineup? Apparently I didn't. But I guess you guys can see the lineup now as it's on the screen. So we end up moving Dvorak up to the top line because he's earned it with his play from Arizona. Richie's on our second line. I wanted to put him up there too, but I wanted to space it out a little bit. But Vermistrov, we're just going to put him on the 4th line for now. Take Iginla out because he wasn't really doing anything. And again, we're kind of constricted on salary, so we can't really do much. And obviously with waivers, we don't want to lose players for nothing. So it does look like no trades came through. So I guess that will be an indicator for what our team's going to be for the rest of the year. So let's simulate right to the end of the year, and hopefully we can make the playoffs. Just so many notifications keep popping up. It's hard to come back in the video, but Nate Schmidt, no thanks. Don't about him, but we had a couple players come back from injury and, everything else. And now we have another injury. So it looks like Colin Miller's out till April with a concussion. So that is, I don't remember exactly where we were, but you guys can see the roster once again. So we have to call up another defenseman. Keep going here. It does look like we're doing pretty well coming off, I believe it's a 4-game winning streak right now. So let's continue scouting here in the QMJHL. I think we got defense 5 weeks. We're on a good little run right now. I think we got, 4 wins? Okay, so that actually, as soon as I said it, it instantly went to about an even game. So we got another, oh gosh, he's out. No, he's actually not out for that long. So do we have another defenseman up here or no? We do not. So we need to bring up another defenseman. We are running out of players very quickly. So it does look like our AHL team made it to the playoffs. So congrats to them. Hopefully we can see that little notification for us as well. As we keep getting more and more players back from injury, we have to keep maintaining this. So it does look like, who was that? Batten, I believe, was back. So we can, we just called up Englund. He just played our last game. Actually got an assist, it looks like. So let's bring Batten back in. Put him back where he belongs. Was he on the first line or was he on the second line? 28, who's performing better? So Shattenkirk is, so he can go back in the first line. So let's leave him there for now. Keep going. So Brown getting mad about ice time. Dvorak, uh-oh. So we do already have players up there, so that's not something we really have to worry about. Who is up there still? Okay, Ratty's still up there. He has to go through waivers. That's the only reason I haven't set him down yet. So let's move him up there, move him over to the side, and we'll go with that. So what I might do for next year is start the injuries after the trade deadline. So as soon as the trade deadline's done, we'll probably do injuries. So, oh my gosh, just keep more and more injuries. Actually, this one's coming back, so I guess that's good. So we can actually take out Yaros now, and, I'm probably going to send those two guys down and put them back in the lineup. I did check, and we are still in the running for the playoffs, but we do have to pretty much win out in order to do so. We were only 4 points off of the wild card spot, but with these couple, actually we lost one, 1-1. So if we win the last 2, we potentially could have it. I'm trying to watch the notifications at the top middle there to see if we did it. And I would assume we didn't, seeing we didn't do well at all in the last 5 games. So I guess we did not make it, seeing that we lost. Yeah, I don't think we did. So it looks like we're out of the playoffs in the first year. The Seattle Attack 37, 37, and 8. How far do we miss it by? That's what I'm curious of. Yeah, those last losses definitely killed us for sure. So Seattle 82, we went a point per game, I guess. But we lost by 7 points. So if we would have won all of those last 5 games, we could have had it. But as far as the season goes, we're obviously going to try to rebuild for next year. We made a lot of big trades at the trade deadline. And, you know, we still have the, I guess, postseason to go. And at least for the AHL team. But as for right now, guys, we're probably going to keep this one nice, short and simple. I'm going to look through all these stats and, you know, try to figure out what would happen for next year. But I guess let's look through the stats as far as the players go right now, and then we'll see what happens for next year. It looks like Williams was our top point getter. You know, he was with us all year long. You know, got him in free agency. Pretty happy about the pickup. You know, we had to spend obviously a little bit extra to get him, but you know, 61 points, 23 goals, perfectly fine with me. Brett Ritchie we acquired at the deadline, 54 points. Really excited to see what he grows into next year. Ryan Spooner, we got him, early on in the season, I believe, if not right in the preseason. Very, very happy about that pickup. Deneau, very up there as well. Dvorak, very excited to see what he's going to turn into next year as well. Pajot had a really kind of up and down start to the year. You know, started on the he started on the first line with Perron and whoever else was up there. And he started to do not very well, so we moved down to the third line. And eventually he ended up fighting back to a second line spot, very close to our first line center numbers there with Deneau. But Pajot, a little bit of an up and down, inconsistent year. But he came back, bounced back, and you know, finished off strong. Grabner did well for what I expected. I expected him to get about 30 points or so. But that's good to see. Dzingel, you know, bounced around everywhere in the lineup, it seemed like, and he did pretty well for himself. Letestu kind of I guess his expectations for me at least were a little bit higher. I expected him to get in about the 30 point range, 30 to 40 point range there. Didn't end up happening. Kind of an underperforming year for him. Chris Tierney, 21 points as the fourth line center, and you know, did pretty well there. Aginla, obviously we traded away Smith Pelly, and we had a couple other guys in and out of the lineup. Mario Lucia, obviously you guys probably don't even recognize that name, but we actually ended up making a minor league deal with Minnesota. We acquired Lucia and Christoph Berchi for Cole Schneider, and I think it was like a 7th round pick. Really not important, so I ended up you know, not putting it in the video. Here's the other guy, actually, Christoph Berchi. So there he is. Burmistrov, obviously we had him in the farm system pretty much all year. Didn't really, I mean, he did all right when he came up. Obviously more of an offensive guy. Connor Brown did all right. You know, obviously he started the year in the AHL. Probably will have him in the NHL next year. Ty Ratty, you know, was earning it in the AHL. Ends up up a couple of points for us. As for defense goes, I might have to change around some strategies because that plus minus for most of these guys is definitely not acceptable. But, I mean, the points are there. 41 for Shattenkirk. Martinez ends up with 32, more than Vatanen at 30. So, you know, 3 guys putting up a lot of points from the back end. That's great to see. Vatanen, the only guy with plus minus. So that's, you know, all right. Interesting. Brodin down here a little bit more. So I guess he played more of a defensive game there. But Martinez actually did really well in the power play. Was kind of really surprised about that. He ends up coming in when he got a lot of injuries there. But Miller did all right in the third line. Obviously, the plus minus I would I'd like to see improved. Edmondson, 5 points. Hey, I expected right around that. That's my goal for the third line, guys. 5 points at least. But obviously, if we fix the plus minus issue, then you know, we'll be set there. The couple of guys that filled in games for us there, Yaros and Englund, did fine as well. Goaltenders were kind of all over the place this year. Obviously, we had Ryan Miller come in, do kind of average. We had Neuver start the year with us and did all right, but not good enough. Deming obviously came in the Dvorak trade did all right. Not the best, but not the worst. You know, did fine. Korpisalo obviously didn't do the best, so that's when we, you know, brought up Miller and did, you know, a whole bunch of other changes. I guess I'll quickly go through the AHL, not nearly as detailed as this one will be, but I'll check out goaltenders real quick. Domingue obviously was playing the AHL with them. So Korpisalo goes down to the AHL, you know, dominates and does very, very well. So I'm very excited to see that. For next year, he'll probably be in the NHL, most likely as our backup. Malcolm Subban, he was dominating in the AHL before Korpisalo got there, but they split the games down there. Do very, very well together. As far as defense goes, looks like their Pouliot was a standout down there. You guys can read the rest if you really want to, or pause the video, you know, when I'm going over these. But a lot of guys doing pretty darn well as far as I'm concerned. But here's where the interesting part comes in: the forwards. Captain, obviously, we got in the trade, but Gaudreau was doing well. You know, for most of the year, 61 points he finishes with. Ty Ratty was about point per game. We brought him up. Vermistrov was more than point per game. We brought him up. McNeil was doing well. But overall, guys, you know, it was a good year. You know, we struggled in the NHL, but did very, very well, at least in the American League, which was good. So I don't think I'm going to put the American League in the playoffs as far as, you know, going through them. You know, obviously this is an NHL franchise mode, but we'll probably come back at least in the next episode with, you know, the playoff run. You know, it'll be very, very quickly because, you know what, we're going to simulate right through it. And then we'll see who wins as far as, you know, the trophies go. And then we'll move into the offseason. But anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. If you did enjoy, hit that like button down below if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button. And as always, guys, we'll see you next time.
I want you forever, even when we're not together. Scars on my body so I can take you wherever. Like, I want you forever, even when we're not together. Scars on my body, I can look